Good day, everyone. Today we are going to create a basic calculator by adding numbers with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Let me begin with opening our expected output. Here, the user can input a number, let's say 12. On the second input text box, the user can input another number, and once the user click this button, the sum will be displayed here. Okay, and then once the user click the reset button, yes, the input datas will be gone. Okay, so let us start now. Okay, so let us start with HTML. Okay, title will be calculator. So in this moment, I will be using another file for our CSS. Click file and then save as my style.css. Okay, save and then another new file for our JavaScript. Click file, save as, and then jscode.js. Okay, save. So at this moment, we have three files, the HTML, the style, and the JavaScript. Okay, so let us start now by adding a body code. So here are the body. So let us start with this area. So this is the area we're in. Okay, so inside our div tag is an ID code container. Okay, so inside our container are the tags, which this one is enter the first number and then the input text box, the label, and then another input text box, the label, and then another input text box, and then the button. So let us start with the label one, which is enter the first number. A label. Okay, inside the label, enter the first number. Okay, so this label is for the txt. Okay, so we will call this as txt num1. Okay, so for our input text box, we have the input type text, and then the name will be changed into ID, wherein this is the same name with the txt num1. So there is no need for a closing input. Okay, so let us try to save and then let us view our. Okay, so this is the first label with the first input text box. Okay, let us try to input the numbers. Okay, there you go. It is working. Now let's go back with our code. So we are going to copy the label in our input type. Control C and then Control V. So let us just change the text num1 into num2 and then enter the second number. All right, so as well with this part, so this will be num2. Okay, so let us try to save and then refresh. Okay, there you go. Okay, it's also working. Okay, on the third part, which is for the sum, let us try to copy the label as well as with the input. Okay, and then this is for sum. Okay, and then this is for the sum. Okay, let's change this into sum. Control S and then refresh. Okay, there you go. So we have to put this into next line. Okay, so and as well as with this sum. So we also need to put it here. So what are we going to do to be able to put this down the line? So we're going to add the BR tag. Okay, so the BR tag, which means line break, just to break the line. Okay, so we are going to add the BR tag. Okay, maybe we can add 2BR. There you go. Another BR here. Okay, so let's try to check if it works. Okay, there you go. So we were able to break the line. So the next part is the button. Okay, so this button. So for our button, we're going to add input type button this time, and then the ID for our button or the value is add value. Okay, so add, and then for the on click is an event for the JavaScript wherein once the user click the button, the add function will be executed. So here is our add function with the opening and closing parentheses. Okay, Control S, and then let us try to refresh this one. Okay, there you go. Here is our add button. So we're going to copy same for our reset. Okay, Control C, and then oops, and then let's just try to, and then change the value into reset, and then our reset function. Okay, let's try to save this part. Okay, so let us refresh. Okay, there you go. There is our button. So what we need to do is we have to put it here to the next line. So we're going to add another BR tag. Okay, another one. There you go. And then refresh. Okay, there you go. So here is our basic HTML with our label, the input, wherein we can input a number, another label and the input. But oh, before I forget, we have here an input text box. But the main purpose of this part is just to show the sum of the two input numbers. So we need to disable this part so that nobody can enter data, right? Okay, so what we have to do, we have to disable our input sum. Okay, so, okay, there you go. Here is our input type text. We have to disable this part. Okay, all right. So let us see. Let us check if the input text box was disabled. Okay, okay, there you go. So compare to this first input text box. Okay, and then the input text box here was already disabled. Okay, so that's the main purpose of the sum. You don't need to display an input there. What you have to do is just to display the output or the sum of these two numbers. Okay, so there you go. So let us continue with the CSS or the style for this. Okay. Okay, so inside our div tag is an ID code container. Okay, So inside our container are the tags, which this one is enter the fight. So today we are going to add my style or the style for our calculator. Okay, let us start now. So we are going to add a body color. Okay, so body, opening and closing curly brace. So you can add your preferred color. So for our background color, you can add your preferred background color. For me, let's say light sky blue or light blue. Okay, there you go. And then for the color, we can also add a color for our text if we have any color for the text. We can have a ghost white. Okay, for the text color. If you are going to add a color for the text. Okay, now for our container. So this is color gray. So let us try to call the container by adding a hashtag. Okay, container and then opening curly brace. So for our container, we have a background color gray. Okay, and then for our, okay, let's try to see first. Let's check. Okay, nothing happens. Okay, so nothing happened because we have to link our style in our HTML. So we have to link. Okay, so after the title, we're going to type the link, okay, so that we can link our CSS. So the file name of our CSS, my style dot CSS. Okay, so let's save and then let's check. Okay, there you go. So our background color, which is the light sky blue, and our container's background color. So it seems that it's too long, so we have to adjust the width of this container, the gray color part of our web page. Okay, so let's go to our container wherein we can edit the width. So the width, maybe it can be 20%. Okay, you can just play around with this percentage. Okay, let us refresh. Okay, there you go. Okay, for the space, okay, for the space, we have to add padding. So we can have a little amount of space here. Okay, so let's go on with the padding. So for our padding, we can have 10 or more pixel. It depends on your preferred. Okay, so I think this would be suitable and nice. Okay, so we have 10 pixel on the left side and on this top button as well as with the right side. Okay, so let's go back here. So if you can add another, so for our, let's see, for this part, so this is a border style. Okay, so this is a border style dotted. Okay, so this is a border style dotted. So let's try to add a border style. Border style. Okay, so dotted. Save it. Let's try to refresh. Okay, there you go. Here is our border style dotted. And on this part, for this input area, if you wanted it to be more rounded corners, okay, so we can add a border radius. Okay, for our border radius in our inbox, input, then opening curly brace, enter. Okay, this is for our input text box. We have the border radius 30. Okay, let's try to add a border radius 30 pixel. Okay, let us refresh. Okay, there you go. See, it becomes rounded. Okay, so as well as with the button. Okay, what else? Okay, there you go. So if you wanted it to be in the center, okay, so let's put a center tag in our body. Okay, okay, so center tag, okay, and then refresh. Okay, there you go. It is in the center already. All right, so there you go. If you add a border radius, this will happen. A rounded radius. It depends on the amount of the radius. Okay. If you wanted to add a border style in our container, you can do so. There are different styles that you can search aside from dotted. Okay, it depends on your preferred style and border radius as well as with the color. Okay, all right, now we are going to proceed with the JavaScript. Okay, so we can use the button, the add and the reset button. Okay, thank you. Okay, so today we're going to add our JavaScript code. Okay, if you can still recall, we have our buttons here, the add and reset button, but it's still not working. Let us try to input a number. Yes, here are the numbers, but the add button and the reset button is still not working. So what we are going to do now is we are going to add our JavaScript codes for us to be able to run this program. Okay, so let us start now. So let us begin with the function reset. Okay, in our JavaScript code, we are going to add the function reset. Okay, okay, and then opening and closing curly brace. Inside our opening and closing curly brace, we're going to type document that get element by ID, opening and closing curly brace. So the document that get element by ID will display our output in our txt num1. Okay, so we're going to use whatever name you inserted in your html. So since you encoded txt num1, so we're going to use that. So this is a very case sensitive code. JavaScript is a case sensitive code, so you have to be careful and be mindful of the names that you include. So that value is also included. So whatever value received in our input text box num1 will be recognized by our document that get element by ID code. Okay, however, our intention is to reset the number, the value. So we're going to add equals to double quotation, semicolon. Okay, so there is no value in our value since we're going to reset. You can also add zero if you want, or if you prefer to add zero, but I prefer it to be blank. Okay, so we're just going to copy this part for our num2 and our sam. Okay, so we're just going to change this into num2 And then for our sum, we're just going to change this into sum. Okay? Control S, and then let us just try to check if it will work. Okay? Let's try to input number 12 and then 34 and then reset. Oh, it's not working. What happened? Okay, so let's try to check what happened to our code. Okay, that get okay, let's try to save it again. And then let's refresh. Okay, let's add 13 and then 23 and then reset button. Oh, it's not working again. What happened? Okay, let's check. Document that get element by ID. Text num1, num2, that value is equals to value. Oh, okay, my fault. Okay. So we have to connect first our JavaScript code in our HTML. Okay, my bad. Okay, we have to include our script, JavaScript code. Okay, so we're going to change this script type into src and then just type in our file name. The file name that we use is jscode.js. All right, there you go, Control S, and then let's check if it will work. Refresh. Okay, let's try to input number, any number. Okay, then click the reset button. Okay, there you go. Okay, there you go. It works now. All right. So, my bad. Okay. So, now let's continue with our function add. Okay. So, our add function. Okay, here is our add function. Okay. Okay, here is our add function. There you go. So, let's go back to our JavaScript code. Let's just copy this part. Control C and then V, and then let's change this into add. Okay? And then, since this is a process, so we're going to delete this reset value here, change this into parentheses, closing parentheses, okay, and then close open, okay. And then what we need to do is we have to declare a variable, okay. Let's name the variable num is equal to this value. Whatever the value inputted in our text num1 will be recognized or will be stored in our variable num. However, our variable must be declared as a number data type. So how are we going to do that? By typing number to declare that whatever value we receive in our text num1 will be recognized as a number data type by our variable. Okay? So that is for our num1. Okay? So let's just do the same with our num2. Okay, let's just copy this one. Okay, and then change this into num2 and then num2. Let me erase this first. Okay. Okay, for our variable sum is equal to num1 plus num2. Okay. So in this area, we are going to copy this part. Okay, in this part, we're going to declare the value as a string. Okay, string is equals to sum. We don't need to retain the number data type since this is the sum. We just have to display the sum of the declared number 1 and 2. So we can now declare this sum as a string. Okay? All right. So don't forget the semicolon to terminate every expression. Okay? So let us try to save and then let's see if it will work. So refresh and then let's try to add a number 12 plus number 12. Okay, let us try to push the button if it will add. Okay, what happened here is that it entered the okay, so let us just try to edit some code here. What happened here is that okay, so I forgot to change this sum. Okay, so it must be changed into text sum. Okay, there you go. Control S, and then let us try to refresh this one. And then 12 plus 12 equals. Okay, there you go. So it shows our sum. And then the reset button, let's try to reset this. Okay, there you go. It also works. So that's how we make our basic calculator using the sum and the input and the label. Okay, that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Bye. Hope you learned something.